Welcome to another video about ticket traps in Metro Manila. It seems the last one was quite popular, so let's do some more, shall we? Now this one is a little bit longer, but I promise you it's worth sticking around because we don't have one or two or three, we have four proper whoppers for you to look at and be aware of when you drive or ride on the streets of Metro Manila. But before we go into that, of course, the usual legal disclaimer.
Please don't sue us. Please don't sue us.
Now with that out of the way, let's dive right into it because we have a lot to go through today. The first location that you told us about, because as always, it's you who tell us about these locations and we then go out and investigate them and determine if they are proper ticket traps, as we call them, or locations where you need to be careful, or if it's not really. And there are some that aren't, but the first one today is a proper location many of you told us, and that's Victorino Mapa, corner Magsaysay Boulevard. You will know exactly what I mean. It's the big traffic light, the big junction. So there's a couple of issues with this one that you need to be aware of. Number one seems to be always enforcers there, and they seem to be very happy to pull you over for lane violations. So if you jump lanes just before the traffic light, there's a very high chance you will be waved down and you will have to park on the left side and you're gonna get a ticket. But the other issue with this junction that you highlighted to us and that we confirmed is there's a red timer and there's a very short orange timer on the light, but there's no green timer. The green timer appears to be either broken or just not in use, which means if it's red, of course you wait and then you go when it's green. But then you may end up, depending on the traffic flow and where you are on the road at the time when it switches, you may end up being caught out during the orange and red phase. And then of course you may end up being pulled over for beating a red light because you weren't aware that the green timer was running out. So the first location to be aware of is Victorino Mapa, corner Magsaysay Boulevard, and that is for lane violations, and be very careful with the green timer because it's not working. The second location today is also in Manila City. Now you will remember that last time we said a lot of these locations are in Manila City. If you are from the city of Manila, you'll be pleased to know in this video only 50% of the locations are in Manila City. This one is the second one. It's one of my favorite parts of Manila City. I love Manila City. I love cycling around there. And it is Binondo. And in this case, it's Quintin Paredes, corner Juan Luna Street. You will know exactly where that is. It's outside the church, Quiapo. Beautiful part, very, very popular with tourists. Of course, it's the entrance to Chinatown. It's proper Manila, as I call it. But it is this big plaza and the 180-degree and the various roads that go in there where you need to be careful. And I have to say that I was especially disappointed with this one the last time I went to look at it. As usual, we look at these multiple times, and I've been to this location many times because you guys told us about it many times. The last time I was there was just a couple of days ago, one day before Lunar New Year started. And as you can imagine, Chinese New Year, Chinatown, busy. Probably one of the busiest days of the year for them. And while I was cycling there, I was thinking maybe it's a really bad day to go there to report about ticket traps. Because surely, with this much traffic and this many people, the enforcers, they will be busy directing traffic, assisting with parking, helping motorists have a great day there. Maybe it's my foreign naivety or I don't know what else, but unfortunately the opposite was the case. It was a very good day for them to write tickets, it seems, because I've never seen so many cars being pulled over in any one occasion that I've observed this location. And I was very, very disappointed to see that because the traffic, as you can imagine, Chinatown, Chinese New Year, it was crazy. People are busy with all sorts of things. Traffic was just really crazy. And they were pulling people over left, right and center for what to me looked like lane violations and traffic light violations. And they legally may be right. I'm not ever suggesting they do anything wrong, but it just didn't look good. It's not a good look for them to do that. So in this location, on this day, I was especially disappointed to see that happening. But during the year, plenty of cars get pulled over there. So if you are in Binondo, Quintin Paredes Street, Juan Luna Street, this whole, roundabout, it's not a roundabout, it's a 180 around the plaza where the church is and where you go into the plaza, be very careful with your lanes, be very careful with the traffic lights, because you will be pulled over if the enforcers who are almost always there think you've done something wrong. The third location is a first, at least for this series, because it's the first time that we feature Mandaluyong City. Now Mandaluyong City is great, not only because I live there, but what's not so great is the corner of Meralco Avenue and Exchange Road. And many of you will know exactly what I'm going to say next, because there are two issues with this one. Number one is a really weirdly designed counterflow lane that I don't think is to code. Maybe someone out there can correct me, but I don't think this is to any code I've ever seen. So the first thing that can catch you out, you come from Mega Mall, you turn right past the San Miguel compound. There's a little gap, so there's this weird counterflow lane already that leads you to Mega Mall, but there's a little gap to allow people from the San Miguel company to go in and out. Now, this gap is right in front of the traffic light. So if you drive along there and you look up where there are 3 valid traffic signs, the big metal ones that point to the 3 lanes, you will think the left lane is okay to turn left into Exchange Road, because that's what this sign there says. But what you should be doing is you should look down at the tiny little vinyl placard sign that someone put there saying no entry counterflow. Of course, loads of people miss that bit. And honestly, the last time I went there was the first time I've ever seen enforcer pull over 3 cars, and I think it was 2 bikes at once, because they all didn't see this little sign. They all went by the valid signs above them. And they all got pulled over for contravening the counterflow. So be very, very careful when you turn from Exchange Road, or even worse, when you go from Meralco Avenue into Exchange Road, because this counterflow lane, it will catch you out. I do not think the no entry sign that's there and the 2-way lane sign is to code. I can't find it in the guidelines. The Philippines has good guidelines for traffic signs. They should be made of metal, reflective, they're standards. These are not to any standard I've ever seen. So, first point is be very careful when you turn left with the counterflow lane from Meralco Avenue into Exchange Road, but also be careful with the actual traffic light there. There's a big traffic light that applies to all 3 lanes and that governs the straight and the left turn. Now, usually on traffic lights that have a left turn, you would expect the left turn arrow to be on the left. I mean, this traffic light is not, it's on the right, or the second from the right. And it's on a different rhythm tacting than the normal green light to go straight. So if you're not familiar with there, if you're not from there, and you're in the 2 lanes that you're allowed to be in, not in the counterflow where you're not allowed, and you see a green light, which is on the left, and you use that to turn left, you're going to get pulled over because you have to wait for the green arrow that's on the right. You see how this is confusing? And that comes on at a different time. So if you see the footage, you know what I mean. If you drive there, you will know what I mean. So this junction, San Miguel, corner Exchange Road, be careful with the counterflow road at the traffic light, and be very careful with the traffic light itself. Only turn left into Exchange Road when you actually see a green arrow. Otherwise, you will be pulled over. And last but by no means least, a proper whopper, something I've never seen in my life. And that is in Caloocan City. It's Monumento Circle. And specifically, it's from the giant roundabout that is Monumento Circle, going right into Rizal Avenue. Hugely busy junction, hugely busy roundabout. And here, people reported to us that loads of cars get pulled over turning into Rizal Avenue for apparent lane violations for turning from the wrong lane within the circle. Now, there are rules governing roundabouts, and you should turn right from certain lanes. That so far is correct. But there's a few things here that I think are, well, lacking. So, for starters, when I went there, I cycled around Monumento Circle, and I was almost taken out by a jeepney that came out of the other road just before Rizal Avenue, so the exit before Rizal, because it turns out it's acceptable at these locations for jeepneys and buses to do left turns against the flow of a roundabout. Insane as that sounds, like if you tell it to any traffic cop anywhere else, they're gonna go, they do what? So apparently it's permissible or tolerated for jeepneys to turn left and buses into the flow of traffic to U-turn and go back the road that is before Rizal Avenue. How do I know? Well, a jeepney almost ran into me doing it because I was going around the roundabout and he was cutting against the flow of traffic. Insane. So that was the biggest issue that I had there personally. But here's something worth pointing out. When I do these videos and when I go to these locations to investigate them, in this case, loads of you told us about Monumento Circle, and I went there a few times to just sit there and watch. When I do this, I don't hide. I'm 6'1", 200-pound gorilla on a bicycle, usually with bright orange or very visible clothing so I don't get run over. So I'm very easy to spot, but I don't usually interact with the enforcers on the location. There's nothing to be gained. This is not the point. I'm there to observe. Sometimes close up, sometimes from a little distance, but I just sit there and observe for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't normally engage with enforcers unless they engage with me. And that's what happened the last time I went to Monumental Circle. And I'm going to show you the footage of this in a minute, because I used the opportunity when he approached me. And he didn't approach me because he noticed me. He approached me because I was in the way of where he was pulling a car over. So when he approached me and asked me to move, I took the opportunity to politely ask him about the jeepneys doing what I think is an illegal U-turn into the roundabout. And I pointed it out to him. And here's the footage of that interaction. I'm just resting. Why are you stopping them? Why are you not stopping the jeepneys that make an illegal U-turn? Do you see the jeepney there?
Yeah.
Illegal U-turn.
No, I can't.
Illegal U-turn. Why do you not stop them? Hey, I asked you a question. You see those jeepneys? That's illegal when they turn left. Why are you stopping him and not those? That's dangerous. One of the jeepney almost hit me, sir.
Go.
Oh, you don't care? Okay. So as you've seen, I pointed it out to him, and they didn't seem to care. Now, giving the benefit of the doubt here and being polite, it may be that he didn't understand me, it was very noisy. It could be, that he just didn't know what I meant. So in this case, I would love to hear, and I'm sure someone from Caloocan City Hall or Traffic Department is watching this, or if you know someone there, forward it to them. I would love to hear from you. This is my email address, and I would love some clarifications in regards to this location. Number one, can I have a copy of the rules or the instructions that tolerate jeepneys going against the flow in what is a roundabout? Because clearly if they do that in front of the enforcers, there must be some sort of arrangements, otherwise that would be a violation. And the second question, of course, is I would love to see the instructions, the guidelines on when you should be pulled over if you turn right into Rizal Avenue. Because to me, as I said, there are rules on roundabouts. Now, there's absolutely no doubt that if you do turn from the innermost lane of a roundabout and you cut across all the lanes into Rizal Avenue, yeah, that is a violation. In any country, you should be getting a ticket. But again, in this location, there seems to be inconsistency, because I observed them pull over people from different lanes. But what I didn't observe was them pulling over any jeepneys or buses or vehicles of a more cargo type layout. So what gives? So jeepneys are allowed to cut across and go against the grain, but private cars are not. I'm confused with how they apply the law here. That's my point. So if someone from Caloocan City or indeed Manila City, I would love to talk to you guys and have an interview or invite someone in to talk about how you enforce things and how maybe you could do better, then, here's my email address. Please do get in touch, because this is not just about highlighting places that are bad. This is about trying to improve the city for everyone. None of us want the grief and the hassle of, driving around and being scared of getting tickets. So that's the 4 locations I have for you today. Keep them coming. Keep commenting, keep sharing, keep telling us about locations. We're not done. There's plenty more to come on ticket traps and on many other topics, trust me. And if there's anything else you want us to investigate or look at, take to the comments, let us know, or email me. But equally, if there's something positive out there, if I don't want to be all this negative and tell you about these ticket traps. I would love to do positive stories. If there are enforcers out there who are really lovely, who care about something, who made something safer, who helped you, let us know. I would love to feature them, because in the end, it's about creating a better city for everyone. So that's it for today. I hope this was very useful, and take to the comments, tell us what you think, tell us more locations. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.